This is Turd Flinging Monkey for TFM News. I'm going to be responding to an article called The Case Against Man Caves in something called Acculturated by Brandon McGinley. I'm just going to come out right and say it. This article really demonstrates what pisses me off about traditionalists. And I know I've talked about traditionalism before in my, Be a Real Cow video. It's the same kind of article, but it approaches it from a different perspective. So let me just get into it and then share my thoughts at the end. So this article is talking about why man caves are bad. So you're thinking, wait a minute, what? So let me just get into the article. The article, near the beginning, the article reads, quote, "What differentiates the man cave from these more traditional male spaces is that workshops and studies are designed to accommodate a particular elevating interest. These rooms are only isolated insomuch as the activities proper to them are best pursued without distraction. With the man cave, however, the isolation from the family, the escape is the primary purpose of the space. The man cave, therefore, is the image of the traditional male space without its substance. Of course, a workshop or study could become an escape, a place to hide from family duties or indulge selfish habits, but this would be a misuse or abuse of a set space aside for human recreations. By contrast, the man cave by its very name announces that it is for me. Whatever happens in this room is merely an artifact of my desires and my personality. The implications is that the rest of the house, the joint bedroom and the nice kitchen and the kids' messy quarters and the other TV room, cannot adequately serve me and my precious individuality. Women apparently are not such fragile snowflakes that they need their own room to express themselves. After all, she has the kitchen, right? Worse, the man cave implies antagonism between the father's masculine identity and his family identity and duties. Setting aside a space specifically as a masculine escape from the family signals that masculinity and family life are in tension. Whereas the mother can actualize her full identity in family life, the father, by this logic, can only do so away from family life. This reinforces two damaging notions. First, that the father's natural environment is not in the home participating in communal life, and second, that the family is nothing more than a group of individuals pursuing their own self-interest and self-actualization, and that those interests and identities, especially between the father and his wife and children, are necessarily in conflict. Both these notions corrode the cohesion of the family, which strength as a social unit emerges from and depends on the effacing of the self in the service of the community. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of strangers living together." End quote, and I'm not going to read the rest. You get the idea. This is the thing that pisses me off about traditionalism. They claim on the surface, if you just listen to them, they seem to be against feminism. They seem to be in favor of traditional gender roles, hence the name traditionalism. But they are incredibly gynocentric. Incredibly gynocentric. I mean, you see the gynocentrism dripping from the words in this article. How dare you, as a man, want to have anything individual? You should live your life in service to women and your family and the larger community as a whole. How dare you want anything for yourself? It's a complete whitewashing of the facts. Back in the day, a man didn't need to have a man cave because the house was his man cave. He would come home from work, he'd turn on the TV, he'd watch his game, and he'd tell his kids to shut up. He'd tell his wife to suck his dick and make him a sandwich. And she did. And everything was happy. But then women's liberation and women were like, I want this, I want that. And now men who are married and have children live a life of quiet desperation. They know that the wife can just pull the plug and collect her cash and prizes whenever she wants for any or no reason. So in order to keep her happy, happy wife, happy life, he gives her the entire house. He's like, I'll give you the kitchen you want, I'll give you the living room they want, and I don't even want to bother you. I know the kids want to watch cartoons and you want to watch your whatever, your TV shows. So I just want one room. I want one room where I can do what I like in the house that I pay for. Just give me one room out of all the rooms in the house. You can have 90% of the house. I just want one room to myself. And this is like the last bastion of this man who's earning the money, who's paying for everything. He just wants one room to himself because he lost control of the family. It's no longer his family, it's her family. They're her kids, it's her house. He just wants one room. And here comes this cocksucking mangina pud talking about how dare he want that room. How dare he? He should serve his family. How dare he have any hobbies? He should go up and watch cartoons with his kids. He should help his wife in the kitchen. How dare he do anything individual? How dare he value his self-actualization? All that matters is serving his woman and her kids. And that's traditionalism. That's what pisses me off about traditionalism. They don't care at all about men. They only view men expressly as a utility. I'm not saying this isn't a fact of life. I'm just saying that traditionalists are so fucking hypocritical about it. Because they claim to be in favor of families, but they're anti-men. They claim to be pro-father, but they're anti-men. You can't claim to be pro-family and pro-father and then throw men under the bus and say your entire life is to be a slave, to serve, to worship, and you aren't allowed to have any individualism. In fact, in the last paragraph, I'm just going to read the first sentence. It says, "This concept is especially important for men who are acutely tempted by the wider culture of self-destructive individualism." Fuck you. Individualism. Oh, it's so self-destructive. Oh my gosh, individualism. We should all just like form our little communes. What I see in a lot of traditionalists, they use shaming tactics against men to get them to submit their lives to just worship this woman and this family for no reason. Like, I'm all for mutual benefit, for finding the win-win. What is the win-win for the man? Why should he sacrifice his life for a family, for a woman, for a society, when the society does nothing for him? When the society hates him, doesn't value him, thinks that his entire life should be sacrificed for their benefit and offers nothing in return. Why should he do that? It's the shittiest deal ever. Because if he doesn't do it, you're going to call him a Peter Pan? Fuck you. If society wants men to take care of women, to raise children, which they do a much better job than women do, make it worth their while. Don't use shame. Don't like, oh, you can't have a man cave. You can't have these things. We're going to keep taking your rights away. We're going to keep poking you and poking you. So then when men walk away from marriage and are like, well, this is a shitty deal, I'm not doing it. Then you're like, oh, how dare you? Oh, you're turning your back on your race and your nation and your people and it's all your fault. No, it's not our fault. It's your fault. If you want men to do something, I mean, it's common sense. If you have a job listing, you have to give compensation. Depending on the compensation, you're going to attract a certain quality of worker. I mean, men understand we have to work and earn our pay, but we also like to be treated a little better, and we like to get the most value for our time. So if you're going to keep making the deal shittier and shittier, we're going to walk away. And if you want us to come back, you need to make it worth our while. You don't shame a worker who's asking for a raise or is threatening to quit. I mean, this is common sense. If you want men to do something, make it worth their while. It's not complicated. But it requires you to stand up to women because that's where the problem lies. Men used to gladly make this deal, shitty as it was, because there were at least some benefits. All those benefits are gone. And men are doing the rational thing. So what are you doing to change that? You're gonna shame men? That's not gonna work. Fucking stupid. It's just the other side of the gynocentric coin. You got feminism on one side and you got traditionalism on the other. Both want to exploit men for their utility. I mean, feminists will insult you and spit on you, and traditionalists will insult you if you don't do it, and they'll pat you on the head if you do, and that's it. That's the only difference. You're still a sacrificial lamb. You're still not allowed to actualize. You're not allowed to have any happiness. Your life is to be sacrificed for them. Fuck you in the ass. This is Turd Flinging Monkey signing off.